Hello and welcome to Zeta's Chivalry 2 survival runs. Today's map is Galencourt and I'm playing with two-handed spear. The weapon of course excels in stabbing only, overhead's not that good, and also excels in fighting in formation. If you go against several opponents at once, it's usually very hard to hit them in one thrust, even if you drag. Without further ado, let's commence the run itself. So at the moment we are in a bit of a sticky situation, but hopefully my sides are held by friendlies, so which is actually beneficial. And I can command the, when I want to engage or not. So the charging attack delivers a lot of damage, around almost 100 damage for semi-armored opponent. This is quite good, one of the better attacks, so the special attack with the spear is very good. But of course, from standing position, it does a trick that you just simply kneel down and brace the spear onto your leg. That way it works against cavalry, but it has absolutely no usage in normal team objective map. So try to avoid that, and if there is an ability to actually, unbound your keyboard from this special attack from standing position, do so. But I don't think it's possible anyway. So just be mindful if you use charging attack. Just be sure that you actually have the momentum. Otherwise, your charge, or you'll be stuck on the ground, doing nothing and being vulnerable to everyone. So there's a small quirks or fighting with two-handed spear. Other than that, it has a good reach, and also, you can assist your friendlies, and since you're not swinging, your left mouse button actually just stabs, so you would deliver less steam damage than usual. So for all those guys that are usually use only left mouse button, I suggest using a spear. In that way, your teammates will be very grateful for you not delivering them as much damage as you usually do. Now some also jabbing is quite fine. I saw that I'm against 3 opponents. Since this weapon does not excel in fighting against many opponents at once, 2 maximum. Against 2 it's fine. More than that, not really. Also with the reach advantage, you can also always kite opponents with dashes. But if you dash too much, just be mindful about your stamina. Interesting thing that even with low stamina, you can hit with the weapon with exactly same damage to the opponent, even at no stamina at all. So it only affects your sort of ability to defend, blocking. Whereas if you have a ranged weapon or a throwing weapon, in the latter case you won't be able to throw your weapon, and in case of bows, you won't be able to deliver as much damage. So damage falls down exponentially if you're low on stamina. Nothing like that with melee weapons. So if you are suffering from low stamina always, just try to use weapons that do not actually need them. That's stamina, like crossbows and so on. So yeah, other than that, stamina management is probably one of the most important things you need to learn in Chivalry 2. So yeah, stamina management. You can get stamina back from just running and not being engaged in combat, and also by doing riposts and counters. That way each hit does return a bit of stamina, like here you can see. So enemy decided to go back swimming, which is quite good. I'm here trying to be surrounded by friendlies, so that way I can, be sure that my sides are clear. So this was a bit, interesting position. Stabbing does not always work too well, because friendlies really like to shield the enemies from you. So even if you're not swinging, sometimes you do land team damage. That's inevitable in this game. And anyway, without teammates, the game would not be the same. It would be too easy. So we are progressing through the second ship. So fight is going quite fine. I'm trying to use my heavies. I'm trying to hit as much as I can the enemy, and try to drain him of stamina. However, I saw that he is actually blocking always, so that means I can usually use kick. So those decisions you have to make when you block and when you try to hit, or whether you want to do something alternative. So anyway, he decides to run away, but unfortunately he's in a place where he can't really strafe at all, so he cannot avoid anything that's being thrown at him. Now this enemy does not block at all, he just spams leftmost button person. Anyway, he dies too, so sometimes it's a bit tricky when you sort of fight one opponent that's quite good, you know, and he uses blocks and also counters, and then you fight another opponent who just spams and just puts you off guard. So for this reason you have to have a healthy pool of health and stamina always, to ensure that, you know, those random hits does not kill you. So 93 damage for an armored opponent, which is significant. So if a knight has 175 HP, so this removes more than the half of his HP. So with spear, charge, kick, overhead does not work, of course, because the overhead does not deliver as much damage. So instead you would use a stab after that. Unfortunately, was not able to land my spear throw this time, because enemy had ample of time to do strafing. But he was not very good at duels. However, he did draw a sword, which still shows that enemy is not a noob too. So we are progressing so far fine. This bridge is extremely beneficial for spears, since on the sides usually there's friendlies, and also you have reach advantage, although against the most popular weapons such as axes and so on. Even with kiting they can't escape from your spear. The idea here is just to deliver more damage to the enemies than you did to friendlies. Now there was a trade, I received a hit, but also killed an enemy. So these things happen, you can always calculate whether or not you want to do that. A bit risky approach, of course. And helpfully enemy ranged characters, like archers and so on, they're not very good, and they're not delivering a lot of arrows. Now I'm one hit away from dying. This guy doesn't like, with a messer, did like to spam. For some reason he liked to duck, and then just get up and spam around leftmost button. So again, this is a different fighting style. You have to get used to different things and react as necessary. And even against those shenanigans too. Now overhead for some reason does more damage than normal stab. So that's why I'm using not overhead but alternative stab. So there are leftmost button would of course stab normally, but if you use alternative swing, then you would stab an overhead. Sort of not overhead, but a stab over the head, so it delivers more damage than normal hit. For the reasons unknown, maybe you're targeting vital areas, however, you're still aiming your weapon. And if you didn't know, in Chivalry 2, there's no such things as headshots or damage amplification if you hit the head once you are with a melee weapon. So there is a damage reduction if you hit legs or I think or arms, but there is no damage amplification if you hit heads. So this damage amplification only works for all ranged projectiles, including arrows, bolts, and also thrown weapons, but not for melee. So even though you can decapitate the enemy, it has no additional damage to the enemy whatsoever. So targeting the heads is not beneficial. It's actually a harder target for you to hit, and absolutely not necessary if you're playing with melee weapons. So yeah, sometimes on uneven surface it's pretty hard to hit the enemies. This is not about the enemy. he managed to block and counter quite a few times. But, of course, his position was completely terrible. He decided to still engage against superior numbers of enemies with his inferior weapon. So, just bad judgment. Not a bad player, but a bad judgment. So yeah, we are placing explosives. There's 2 minutes left. So, not much. But I have faith in my team. Of course, as the guy with the spear, and in general survivalist, I'm not trying to be in the thick of it, in the thick of a battle, at least not yet. But I do deliver a lot of damage to the enemies, so friendlies can proceed to objective, and also enemy team will be severely crippled due to lack of numbers. By the way, I find that sometimes people do get a bit confused with feint into feint stab. So yeah, you can use that, like stab into stab. So it's similar to overhead into overhead. Here too, sometimes works. Again, spears are not very often seen in Chivalry 2. And for this reason, people are not well trained fighting against spears. So this is additional advantage of any spear wielding guy, because enemy is unfamiliar with this weapon. Which is of course very historically inaccurate, because spears were the most common and the best, the most cost-efficient weapon in medieval warfare. So yeah, ranting about medieval inaccuracies, historical inaccuracies of the game. Let's not forget about the fun we have here. So, but I still have to mention one additional thing. For some reason the spear, especially two-handed spear, lacks the finesse it usually had in real time too. For some reason after one hit, after one stab, it has to change the side, which is completely untrue. You simply should stab and stab and stab, but for gameplay purposes, and so you're not overspammed with spear stabs. This mechanic is not implemented. Again, at the moment, just trying to go around with friendly, close to friendly spawn actually, and we have to remove the stragglers so we can proceed further. Fighting from upper ground is great, except enemy was an active parry, and so hitting him was very hard. Again, no. This is the hazard, occupational hazard of fighting in Chivalry 2, is reading when the enemy is in active parry and expecting him to block. So instead of your swing continuing on, you have to stop and block. Now this is perfect example when, you know, upper ground is beneficial. Trying to chase the enemy. He was killed, unfortunately. I'm out of stamina, but still was able to retain and get some stamina back after a successful counter. Nevertheless, not taking any more chances, just retreating to replenish my stamina. Again, not always able to land my charging attack. Sometimes enemy moves, sometimes, you know, I move incorrectly, and landing it is not so easy. Now I'm almost dead. But enemy again is a spammer time, so he just decides to slash instead of you know, doing some alternative moves. Maybe he was afraid of more friendlies, my friendlies, coming from the spawn, and just wanted to finish the job quickly. So, but I did not succumb to that. So a feint probably would worked against me in that case. But oh well. So yeah, we actually almost removed all statues. Teams are quite even. We're able to, you know, to prolong the game quite substantially. So it's now less than 3 minutes left for this objective. And actually it was less than 2 minutes left for previous objective. Now a heavy stab from underhand delivered 60 damage, where an alternative stab, when the spear is raised at the head level, delivers 70 damage. So that's a substantial, around 20% increase in damage. So use that if you want to deliver more damage with a two-handed spear. Again, don't ask me why, you know, what's the difference, why it's this so, but that's how it is, and that's it. So yeah, by the way, when you run out of HP, one of the penultimate swings, usually it takes away your helmet. So that's the reason why I'm clean shaved, almost, and without a helmet. Unfortunately, you cannot pick it up, but having no helmet does not affect your ability to, you know, shield yourself from damage. There is no any damage amplification if you have no helmet. It's just pure cosmetic. Same thing as having blood on your, you know, burnt marks. No damage amplification whatsoever. So enemy with a halberd, pretty good. Landed quite a few hits. And then enemy with a execution axe, even better. He had momentum, delivered one hit and retreated like a Chad. That's how you should play with executioner's axe. Although I like to, for survivability purposes, to use different class with executioner axe. But it's okay. He's doing the right way of playing this weapon. So yeah, less than 2 minutes left for this objective. So again, map is, you know, going for quite a long time already. And that shows that teams are almost equal. I see enemy behind, he doesn't see me. So I delivered one quick attack immediately. But it was followed by enemy delivering 2 Morningstar hits on me. You know, he's a spammer. Anyway, got rid of him. Not the easiest one. And I see that there's somebody actually higher on the scoreboard than me. And to be frank, it's an archer. So pretty good one. A beauty. The name is Beauty. Yeah, but he's an archer, so it's still fine. Challenging map for archers, especially the last stage, where you can be again one-shotted by the enemy. So 2 heavy hits, heavy stabs, doesn't matter. Well, you have to do one with a stronger one at head level. You can get rid of the Vanguard. 3 hits, it's guaranteed to get rid of a knight. There is no damage amplification against armored opponent, but there is damage amplification if you do charging attack, and that's I think that's a spear's special ability. So yeah, again quite a few enemies on the left side, so decide to a bit retreat. And there is enemy here too. Holding to the cross, and now he dies. So I just double checked whether there are any chandeliers still present. Don't want to be one-shotted at the very last stage after 20 minutes of sweating. That wouldn't be a good ending. So for this reason, have to double check. There is an archer here, and he wants to use a brazier against us. So a quick, you saw that a quick feint did resolve the issue, whereas he would have defended against the first attack. So yeah, he still this archer not too bad. Reacted correctly, just his positioning was off. And with shield, a bit harder, you know, it takes a long time to stab through the shield, so the shield is broken. Other than that, we're doing quite fine. So, less than 4 minutes left for the last objective. I received a lot of damage, so 1 hit away from dying. So, it's time to retreat, also hide, and get back the stamina too. So now there is a healing flag in the middle of this cathedral. But, you know, there are enemy archers too, so I can't really blindly go there and heal. Enemy did not turn back, and decided to receive another stab. Intentionally didn't land my stab on the enemy, the one that was alive, and instead went from the one who's knocked. Because I saw the first one is defending, and since it was not riposte and counter, enemy's hit was slower, so I could deliver the consequential hit on the enemy. So yeah, sometimes it is very good to miss if you're anticipating the enemy will block. I see a lot of enemies just charging in on the right side. Again, I need to change my position. An enemy and friendly archer, the first one, is still slaughtering the enemies. It's a bit easier for him in terms of picking targets. I have to go into close and personal space for the enemy, risking a lot too. Whereas the enemy does not. An overhead, heavy overhead delivers 50 damage, so comparative to heavy stab, like 70, that's really low. It is possible to use it, just not very, not very good reach and not very good moveset. For some reason friendly is attacking me. See, you have to fight not only with the enemy, but against your friendlies too. So very good. By the way, the reason I'm doing the jumping and turn around thing is I don't want to lose momentum whilst going that one way, and I want to see what the enemy is doing. So I was winning a fight against the knight, and then man-at-arms came in and decided to receive some damage too, but also he delivered some. So I felt that I'm getting hit by the enemy, so immediately turned around and blocked. Since he did not proceed with a kick, I was able to survive this engagement. Again, map is quite okay, not the easiest one, but again not the hardest for the attackers. And that, we're winning this map. We're almost destroyed the Phaedrus tomb. Few hits left and the map is ending. So I had fun. It's over 22 minutes already, and I was able to survive and also score quite a number of kills, 46 to be precise. But there is a friendly archer who scored even higher than this. Kudos to him. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. See you next time.